talk about a simulation defender. You do yeah. And so let me tell them and so and talking about a what defender? Talk about a who defending? Talk about a we'll see then. Holy smokes. The Pharisees and their influence is already given me food for thought. And we already are a little bit like 1 minute over returning, but I did want to smoke some. I also got an energy drink. This is the last one. I got 3. Rio Punch is the last one. Boom. I don't know how much longer I'll be out here for. I'm thinking a few hours at least. A couple at least. Before the mosquitoes start really. I think I've had this before. This one's good. Before the mosquitoes really start, I've always been an energy drink drinker. Something about them, they just, Look, you see my eyes? Got the super crazy eyes. There was a point in my time where I was looking at mental disorders and how some of the mental disorders, if they're just wide eyes just staring you, but like sometimes I'm just curious and really intrigued, you know what I'm saying? But when I was looking at stuff a while ago, I was like telling myself, I was thinking to myself, I probably have to lighten up on my stare a little bit. I probably just gotta I just gotta seem like I'm like losing eye contact with people. It definitely worked. I've gotten comments before, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I just don't want to be like the lock-in for forever, the forever lock-in. You know what I'm saying? That's when the aliens start to blend in. When the aliens are getting too good. I just burped into the straw. The needle. All right, you're taking that smoke blowing a little bit too seriously now. No, I wanted to create a good sneeze. I don't think that's the one though. Seriously, I almost had to sneeze. It went away though. All right, a couple more, and then we'll take the book back out. I already threw away my napkin. We just leveled up. We got 2 levels. Level 82 defense and level 108 combat level. Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. 72% to 92 ranged. But 82 defenses, that's, you know, that's... Excuse me for my nose drip. Jeez. I need to get a tissue. The most roughest, toughest. One rub of that and you're raw. Alright, let's do another dab, maybe 2 more now. Sound bell. Oh, come on, 2 more. Come on, 2 more. What you need 2 more? Say what? Nah. You saying what? Oh, like that. Hands behind the back. Whatever you say. No. we're bringing the book back in. That needs to go away. These are just supplemental until this gives me the full potential of power. I mean, like, come on, snap your fingers, get through these pages, wake up. Alright, here we are. We're at Jesus heals a man with a demon. I'm able to use natural light. Thank you for this natural light, these natural views. Having to use artificial light at nighttime to read, it's at times the shadows, they obscure. It's a different view again, a different light of things, and how you can just monitor mine while I'm reading. See how good, see how powerful. Let us continue. Let us continue. I think I've been good by not exactly pairing anything of my experience. You know, I've been going with an open mind. I think I've been all right with that. Let's see how that stays. 30 seconds, and I gotta reset aggro. I might as well do that now. Almost. I started peeking on to the next thing. Get that eye off of there. I know one word, C. They're doing something at the C. Alright, I guess I don't really care too much about my XP. I might as well should I just leave it in the middle then? Is that the best? Or leave it at the side? I think it's in the middle, huh? Like a few tiles down. I don't want to mess with it like that, because the monkeys, manacle monkeys. We're training defense, level 82. Level 82, we're 75% the way done. 25% more into 92 ranged. 82 defense. We just leveled. All right. So Jesus heals a man with a demon. Chapter 5 of Mark. This is the regular standard English version. I have the King James version, but I guess I was told to put that up. AI told me. AI said, if it's your first time reading, never done anything like this or that, start at Mark and read to your heart's content. And we've learned a lot. John was calling everyone down to the river Jordan, get baptized. Jesus was even there. John was talking to saying, someone mightier than I can't even untie his sandals. He's not worthy. But John sure was worthy to be baptizing everyone. The Holy Spirit, Jesus saw the heavens open up. 40 days, he was battling Satan. The angels were ministering, bringing Jesus the aid he needed. And showing the influence again. How powerful. What's possible. Continuing on. Jesus already started getting his 12, right? Started preaching, teaching, showing people his word. We can go back because this was the first time learning, actually reading this. Um, the Pharisees not too big. Scribes are learning. Um, what else? That sums it up. There is some parables. Definitely some parables. I'm just going back really quick, just briefly, because the Holy Spirit, the blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, that was a big one. That was a big one. Thanks. I did skip around as well. Now that I'm looking at that, did I skip around a little bit? Because Jesus started going for his disciples really quick. Talked about Jesus potentially being God, or even like in my take, taking the learnings, the messages that he found, and knowing he was walking in those same footsteps, which is quite interesting. Quite interesting. And here we are, pretty much chapter 5. I am playing RuneScape on the side, so bear with me. I'll put these headphones in too. Might as well. Still, the headphones aren't connecting. I'm sure, eventually, maybe. Who knows? I'm sure eventually, maybe. I don't see why not. Eventually, maybe, though, Maybe come a version thing. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yeah. That's funny. Alright, yeah, this is just, I've had these books just sit for the longest time. Just sitting, collecting dust, you know what I'm saying? Collecting dust. But that doesn't mean I can't read them. Now let's go. Chapter 5 here on Mark. They came to the other side of the sea, to the country of Gerasenes. And when Jesus had stepped out of the boat, immediately there he met out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. He lived among the tombs, and no one could bind him any more, not even with a chain. For he had often been bound with shackles and chains, but he wrenched the chains apart, and he broke the shackles in pieces. No one had the strength to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and cutting himself with stones. And when he saw Jesus from afar, he ran and fell down before him. And crying out with a loud voice, he said, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, do not torment me." For he was saying to him, "Come out of man, you unclean spirit." And Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." That's ominous, like dun dun dun. That's very interesting. especially for something, right out the gate, sort of thing. It's just chapter 5. It's just chapter 5. For we are many. And he begged him earnestly not to send them out of the country. Now that was a bit of a read, and that last part, that's the unclean spirit saying that, right? Because that was a long conversation there. Not a long, you get that. I mean, well, yeah. Dun, 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 dun. And he begged him earnestly not to send them out of the country. Now a great herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside. And they begged him, saying, "Send us to the pigs, let us enter them." So he gave them permission. And the unclean spirits came out and entered the pigs and the herd. Numbering about 2,000, rushed down to the steep bank into the sea and drowned into the sea. The herdsmen fled and told it in the city and in the country, and people came to see what it was that had happened. And they came to Jesus and saw the demon-possessed man, and the one who had had the legion, sitting there, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And those who had seen it described to them what had happened to the demon-possessed man and to the pigs. And they began to beg Jesus to depart from their region. As he was getting into the boat, the man who had been possessed with demons begged him that he might be with him. And he did not permit him, but said to him, "Go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you." What the mother? No. Oh my God. You know what I used to do with those things? I used to smush those things up, blah 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 blah. Still eat it. You know what I'm saying? That was like the best part for me. I got lucky there. I did get lucky. Oh yeah, that. There my colors are again. Perfect. Yes, I see the wires on the page. Great. Who needs to highlight anything? It's like this camera. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking through. Ah, perfect. Yes. Alright, so where were we at here? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. We're still alive, that's all that matters, you know what I'm saying? We can't really afford to drop down another time. Okay. As he was getting into the boat, the man who had been possessed with the demons begged him that he might be with him, and did not permit him, but said to him, "Go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you, and how he has had mercy on you." And he went away and began to proclaim in the De- De- Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and everyone marveled. So okay, I wonder what the whole point of Jesus doing that for him and the whole pig thing was. I mean, that was like a lot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've never read this book, but that's a lot to digest. That's a lot to digest. Yeah, we gotta cross. Let's get to where we need to get to. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot. That's like talking about magic, right? Essentially. Like, depending on what your what your definition is. I had to stabilize. The prayer. Stabilize the prayer. That's a lot though, right? Especially for me, like let's do some Googling here. This is definitely a point to be Googling, you know. Chapter 5, the start of chapter 5. Like, holy. And I was supposed to take 5 days just to get to this? And this is like where it's good? Like, I know, I don't want to say, but this would almost seem like a deal with the devil, no? I don't want to, like, you know, I need to do some Googling here. But from my point of view, it ended up good. And I mean, I can take it in the light of the whole Jesus doing God's work, because Jesus is God in this whole time and frame. And what was it about? Or I don't want to get the people confused. God bless. Oh, God bless. But you know that would be like the shadow influence, right? That like when Jesus was fighting against Satan. Hey, I don't know. Hello, hello, manala, and Nicola Manakanas, and Chalala Homanamala Manakanas, and so Hulu Manamala Manakadas. Marashala Manakala, Marashala Manakadas, let's see here. Okay. All right. So without being wrong, it's Lucifer, right? Jesus is making deals with Lucifer. So listen, if that's the case, then that would have been a good deal gone good. I mean, if that's the case, talking about having influence and learning about it for 40 days. Right? If that's the case, and is this like before or after Lucifer fell out of heaven? Is this like what I'm saying? Like it, how does that work? If Lucifer fell out of heaven, because that would bring me back to like God being a woman now. You know what I'm saying? And chapter 5 of Mark, I mean, it seems like I'm gonna have to reread it, but it seems like an interesting way of healing someone. Let's see. Where are we at here? Get rid of this. We'll keep that just so we can see. All right, I'm asking it for it to be explained without my opinion first. I didn't even put it. I just said Mark chapter 5 about Jesus healing a demon. Fuck. Maybe I should have reworded that. Fuck. It's a man with a demon. Excuse me. I mean, I guess in the sense of, like I said, I need to reword. I need to all that insulin and then the not Atlantic it has. All right. In Mark 5:1, Jesus heals a demon-possessed man in the region of Gerasenes. Pronunciation. Gadarenes? Gergesenes? I love proper pronunciation. Alright. Demonstrating his absolute authority over spiritual darkness and showing that no person is beyond the reach of God's mercy. This event is one of the most intense and detailed exorcisms recorded in the Gospels. Well, I skipped a track when the pigs started going into the water. Like, God bless. God bless. That'll put the fear of in you. God. All right. When Jesus steps off the boat, he is immediately met by a man possessed by an unclean spirit living among the burial. My mind would have to make up a word there. Ow. And then that happens. Yeah, there. Interesting. The other tooth that is like this tooth is the one that's like this tooth. What is this one? Are these the canines? The top canines? Is that how that works? I know the bottom. Are these the canines? The top ones? Those are canines, right? No. All right. Listen. Myself. Right. He immediately met a man that was possessed by an unclean spirit living among the burial tombs. Mark emphasizes the extreme severity. See, I don't know who Mark is. So all of this is Mark's recollection, Mark's account of what happened. Thinking. That's quite the mixed signal. Hold on, Alright, let's go. Uh, um, that human intervention had completely failed. Socially isolated. He lived in the tombs, a place of death and ritual uncleanness. That's so funny. Uncontrollable strength. People had tried to bind him with chains and shackles, but he tore them apart. Um, I, I'm imagining back to what I was thinking here. I was thinking like maybe more like Dark Souls sort of thing. Like it was a man, but his unclean spirit made him like an apparition in Jesus's world. Uh, if that made sense. Um, so when I was saying doing a deal with the devil, um, helping him out in that sort of sense, I was thinking of that instead of just an exorcism, plain as day. Which in a way is the same sort of thing, because Jesus 40 days, that's a long time to be dealing with that sort of mental torment, with those sort of influences over you the whole time. So he would know what to look for, and what to say and how to do it, and how to target that unclean spirit in that time. Let's continue on here. We talked about the uncontrollable strength, the self-destructive behavior. Night and day he screamed among the tombs and cut himself with the stones. Obviously, that's no bueno. The power and authority of Jesus. As soon as the demon-possessed man sees Jesus from a distance, he runs and falls on his knees. This reaction highlights the immediate spiritual submission of evil forces to Christ. The admission. The demons cry out. Oh, let's check the game just in case we may have. You never know. We were running low with the aggro timer. The aggro timer's done. We're at 50 prayer. We were running out. We have plenty prayer pots. Plenty. That back on. And let's read here. The admission. The demons cry out, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God?" They instantly recognize Jesus' true identity, even while the religious leaders of the day remain blind to it. The name. When Jesus asks for his name, the Spirit replies, "My name is Legion, for we are many." A Roman legion typically consisted of 4,000 to 6,000 soldiers, indicating a massive organized satanic occupation of the single man. The banishment. I forgot about the legion as well. Then that was the dude's name. The banishment. Realizing they cannot resist Jesus' command to leave, the demons beg to be sent into a nearby herd of about 2,000 pigs. Jesus gives them permission. The herd rushes down a steep bank into the sea and drowns. Which is quite the price to pay. And honestly, if I look at it like with his opening statement of "we are many," and Jesus was willing to just 2,000 pigs, but we're many. 6,000. You can that adds up fast. We are many, and then next thing you know, there's no more pigs. But that is very, that is very interesting. Now that was again, that would be like in the mind of like influence, and the Pharisee would, how I'm sure have his or what whoever at the time would say. Is that always the Pharisees? Alright, the two reactions to the miracle. Let's see here. I had to just to have the screen open, so I'm not worried about it. The aftermath of the healing reveals a stark contrast in how people respond to the overwhelming power of God. The townspeople fear and rejection. When the locals see the formerly naked, violent madman sitting down, fully clothed and in his right mind, they are terrified. Instead of rejoicing, they value their economic stability, the loss of pigs, and comfortable familiarity over the miraculous transformation. They beg Jesus to leave their region. Let's read the other thing and then I'll talk. The healed man, gratitude and mission. The restored man begs to travel with Jesus. Instead, Jesus gives him a unique mission. Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you. The man obeys, proclaiming his story throughout the Decapolis, a region of 10 Gentile cities, preceding the area with the gospel. What I wanted to talk about, I don't know what I wanted to talk about. It's the two reactions to the miracle. That's what it is. I mean, I could talk about what it said, the fear and the rejection. Sort of like what I said, they would rather have him in an episode than losing, their economic stability. They didn't see the transformation as something worth it. At least yet. And then Jesus sending him on his way. I don't know, maybe he just knew. Not, just information. goes from the we are many to the pigs are running to I'm gonna be following. But it was more of go tell all the people about how I'll be on my way, how I'll be eventually incoming. Nothing is too broken for God. The man was a violent, self-harming outcast living in a graveyard, yet Jesus crossed a stormy sea specifically to rescue him. It is a tough subject to talk about. And then me with what I talked about, like, God bless. I think it's a valid point, at least. Alright. Spiritual warfare is real but limited. Satanic forces are destructive, but their power completely evaporates in the presence of Jesus. They must ask his permission even to enter pigs. But when it is done, that can be extremely... I mean, given those permissions, I mean... restoration leads to witness. Jesus transforms people not just for their own comfort, but to turn them into living testimonies of grace to others. I won't even ask AI the line of questioning I wanted to go into, because it broke it down, and I can, like I said, talk about it like how I did without getting AI's opinion on it. It's for another day, I'm sure. Jairus' daughter. Jesus heals a woman and Jairus' daughter. Or Jairus? Jairus's? Jairus's? And when Jesus had crossed again in the boat to the other side, a great crowd gathered around him, and he was beside the sea. Then came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, and seeing him, he fell at his feet and implored him earnestly, saying, "My little daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hand on her, so that she may be made well and live." And he went with him. And a great crowd followed him and thronged about him. I've seen that word before, thronged. A dense number of people or objects. And there was a woman who had had a discharge of blood for 12 years. And who had suffered much under many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was no better, but grew worse. She had heard the reports about Jesus, and came up behind him in the crowd, and touched his garment. For she said, "If I touch even his garments, I will be made well." Yo, not lo de Escalania, es cancelada, no voy a poner cosas. There we go. For she said, "If I touch even his garments, I will be made well." And immediately the flow of blood dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. And Jesus, perceiving in himself for that power had gone out from him, immediately turned about in the crowd and said, "Who touched my garments?" And his disciples said to him, "You see the crowd pressing around you, and yet you say, 'Who touched me?'" And he looked around to see who had done it. But the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling. In fear and trembling, and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you." I might have to. I might have to just put that over now. Come on, "Your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease." While he was still speaking, there came from the ruler's house some who said, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" But overhearing what they said, Jesus said to the ruler of the synagogue, "Do you not fear, only believe?" And he allowed no one to follow him except Peter and James and John, the brother of James. They came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and Jesus saw a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. And when he had entered, he said to them, "Why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping." And they laughed at him. But he put them all outside, and took the child's father and mother and those who were with him, and went in where the child was. Taking her by the hand, he said to her, "Talitha Kumi," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." And immediately the girl got up and began walking, for she was 12 years of age. And they were immediately overcome with amazement. And he strictly charged them that no one should know this, and told them to give her something to eat. Jesus rejected at Nazareth, chapter 6. I apologize. Alright, Jesus rejected it at Nazareth. That was also a lot, and I mean, I'm learning a whole new phrase. Alright. He went away from there and came to his hometown, and his disciples followed him. And on the Sabbath he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were astonished, saying, "Where did this man get get these things? What is the wisdom given to him? How are such mighty works done by his hands? Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary and brother of James and Joseph and Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. And Jesus said to them, "A prophet who is not without honor, except in his hometown and among his relatives and in his own household." A prophet is not without honor, except in his hometown and amongst his relatives and in his own household. And he could do no mighty work there, except that he laid his hands on a few sick people and healed them. And he marveled because of their unbelief. And he went about among the villages, teaching. And he went about among the villages teaching. Without villages was hyphenated, and I was just, VIL hyphen LAGES. Jesus sends out the 12 apostles. And he called the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2, and gave them authority over the unclean spirits. He charged them to take nothing for their journey except a staff, no bread, no bag, no money in their belts, but to wear sandals, and do not put on 2 tunics. He said to them, "Whenever you enter a house, stay there until you depart from there. And if any place will not receive you, and if any place will not receive you, and they will not listen to you, when you leave, shake off the dust that is on your feet as a testimony against them." So they went out. So again, and if any place will not receive you, and they will not listen to you, when you leave, shake off the dust that is on your feet as a testimony against them. So they went out and proclaimed that people should repent. And they cast out many demons and anointed with oil many who were sick and healed them. Anointed with oil many who were sick and healed them. The death of John the Baptist. King Herod heard of it, for Jesus' name had become known. Some said, "John the Baptist has been raised from the dead. That is why these miraculous powers are at work in him." But others said, "He is Elijah." And others said, "He is a prophet, like one of the prophets of old." But when Herod heard of it, he said, John, whom I beheaded, has been raised. For it was Herod who had sent and seized John and bound him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because he had married her. For John had been saying to Herod, it is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife. And, excuse me. For John had been saying to Herod, it is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife. And Herodias had a grudge against him and wanted to put him to death, but she could not. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a righteous and holy man, and he kept him safe. When he heard him, he was greatly perplexed, and yet he heard him gladly. But an opportunity came when Herod on his birthday gave a banquet for his nobles and military commanders and the leading men of Galilee. For when Herodias' daughters came in and danced, she pleased Herod and his guest. And the king said to the girl, ask me for whatever you wish, and I will give it to you. And he vowed to her, whatever you ask me, I will give it to you, up to half of my kingdom. And she went out and said to her mother, for what should I ask? And she said, the head of John the Baptist. And she came in immediately with haste to the king and asked, saying, I want you to give me at once the head of John the Baptist on a platter. And the king was exceedingly sorry. But because of his oaths and his guest, he did not want to break his word to her. And immediately the king sent on a platter. And the king was exceedingly sorry. But because of his oaths and his guests, he did not want to break his word to her. And immediately the king sent an executioner with orders to bring John's head. He went and beheaded him in the prison, and brought his head on a platter and gave it to her, and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard of it, they came and took his body and laid it in a tomb. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And he said to them, come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a desolate place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran there on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When he went ashore, he saw a great... should I go back and... I'm sort of getting... I go too quick. I was also worried about this. I need to look at this as well. Got 4 minutes. Plenty of time, right? This is like the Bible verse of the morning. All right. What's up? Good morning. All right. Let's see. This is chapter 6, right? Yes, chapter 6. Just for people who are just starting here. Oh, Jesus! I see. I thought that was going on. I apologize. death of John the Baptist. That was it. Which it makes sense. I was like already like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's the next? That's why I was like, wait a second, I need to slow down and go back. That was the death of John the Baptist. The king did that for the girl. Yes. Um. And who had that was the girl's mother? And went out and said to her mother, yeah. Interesting. That's one what's going on here, sort of death of John the Baptist. All right, so we're going on to Jesus feeds the 5,000. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And I know I have been doing some of the AI things. It's already an hour 22 minutes in. AI, like, asking, questioning. Can you explain this a little bit more in detail and depth? But just moving on from that one. It seems like that. Let me just look this up. Matter of fact. All right, it is 14. Okay, that is how you read it. 14. Okay, Mark 6:14. The Gospel of Mark provides a detailed explanation of the beheading of John the Baptist under the orders of Herod Antipas. This passage stands out because it is the only extended story in the Gospel of Mark where Jesus is not the primary character. Instead, it serves as a flashback explaining why Herod is terrified of Jesus' rising fame. Herod's guilty conscience. Jesus' disciples were performing miracles and spreading his name. When news of this reached the king Herod, he panicked. While people speculated that Jesus might be the prophet Elijah or an ancient prophet resurrected, Herod was convinced of a darker theory. John, whom I beheaded, has been raised. That was the theory. Herod's guilt caused him to believe John had come back with supernatural powers. The unlawful marriage. Mark then flashes back to explain why John was arrested. Herod Antipas had married Herodias, who was the wife of his own brother Philip. John the Baptist, known for his bold truth-telling, publicly confronted the king, stating, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." Herodias held a deep grudge and wanted John dead. Herod protected John in prison because he feared him, knowing John was a righteous and holy man. Surprisingly, Herod also liked to listen to John's preaching, even though it deeply troubled him. And then the birthday trap. Herodias found her opportunity during Herod's lavish birthday banquet. Herodias' daughter, historically known as Salome, performed a dance that greatly pleased Herod and his elite dinner guests. Swept up in a moment, a likely intoxicated Herod made a rash public oath to the girl, "Ask me whatever you wish and I'll give it to you, up to half my kingdom." The girl ran to her mother for advice. Seizing her moment of revenge, Herodias answered the head of John the Baptist. The girl rushed to the king and demanded John's head on a platter immediately. The execution, the last few of the verses, 26 to 29. Herod was trapped. The text notes that he was exceedingly sorry, but pride and peer pressure won. Because he had made the solemn oath in front of his high-ranking guest, he refused to break his word and faced embarrassment. He sent an executioner to the prison, who beheaded John, brought the head out on a platter, and handed it to the girl, who gave it to the mother. Herodias. Yeah. Not to be confused with Salome. Salome? Okay. Next, what was I at? Gave it on a platter and handed it to the girl, who gave it to her mother. John's grieving disciples later came to take his body and place it in a tomb. Yep. And theological meaning and key terms. Foreshadowing Jesus' death. Mark intentionally places this story here as a sandwich layout. Intercalation. That's calendar stuff. No, I learned about this word actually. That root word. Not root word, but there was some interesting words with that. If that's the right word. I was around like the Jupiter time. All right. Between Jesus sending out the 12 disciples and the return, John's death serves as a dark warning of what happens to God's messengers. Just like John, Jesus would later be executed by a weak political ruler, Pontius Pilate, who knew Jesus was innocent but gave in to public pressure. Not peer, but public pressure. The cost of truth. John the Baptist exemplifies absolute moral courage. He did not compromise the truth of God's law, even when speaking to the most powerful and dangerous man in the region. And the danger of pride and compromise. Herod Antipas represents a divided soul. He respected the truth and wanted to protect John, but he cared more about his public reputation, status, and opinions of his peers more than what was right. Alright, next here. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him, excuse me. All up in all like that, all of you and Unskulan in Shushul Menekades is a Halalulu Menekades and Shulalula Menekades and Tulan Kulula Menekades and Tulalula Menekades. Alright, let's see here. What's next? The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And he said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while." For many were coming and going. and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a desolate place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran there on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. Wait, we already did this, didn't we? No, I did read um, this before, and I remember that this was the next part. This was just similar to another part where I looked up the one word. Oh, that was also in this, and now I'm regressing, remembering back. Where was it though? I thought it was more than that. It was a similar line um, where they ran there on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them, like almost verbatim that got there ahead of them. Maybe not. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them. I want to go back and look, but Are we gonna get to 7 and stop? Is it just getting good? He saw a great When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. And when it grew late, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a desolate place, and the hour is now late. Send them away to go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered them, But he answered them, Mali ino inshallah ino manakadas until that little who manalano manakadas until that little hamanalo manakadas. I apologize. I honestly apologize for that. No, you're breathing down my neck. Let Lu and the manal and the manakadas. Nalain si kalanani so chalano manakadas. And when it grew late, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a desolate place, and the hour is now late. Send them away to go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered them, "You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "Shall we go?" And they said to them, "Shall we go and buy 200 denarii?" I don't even know what that is. A denarius was a day's wage. um, you give them something to eat. And the disciples said to him, shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give it to them to eat? And he said to them, how many loaves do you have? Go and see. And when they had found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Then he commanded them all to sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups by hundreds and by Yeah, let's see. He looked up to heaven and said a blessing and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples to set before the people. And he divided the 2 fish among them all. And they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up 12 baskets full of broken pieces and of the fish. And those who ate the loaves were 5,000 men. So wait a second. 5 loaves for 5,000 men? Plus 2 fish? Okay, hold on. 5 and 2 fish. Then he commanded them all to sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups by hundreds and by fifties. And taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to the heavens and said a blessing, and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples to set before the people. And he divided the 2 fish among them all. And they all ate. And were satisfied. I apologize. I'm trying to take this really seriously. I hope you can understand with the influences I have going on underlining things. And they all ate and were satisfied, and they took up 12 baskets full of broken pieces. So and they took up 12 baskets full of broken pieces and of the fish. And those who ate the loaves were 5,000 men. All right. So where did Jesus walk on water? Immediately he made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. So immediately he made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. And after he had taken leave of them, he went up to the mountain to pray. And when evening came, the boat was out on the sea, and he was alone on the land. And he saw that they were making headway painfully, for the wind was against them. And about the 4th watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea. Dale en su shalatne en su shalamene en enekudanas. Ento la hula meno en su shalamene en enekudas. Hey.
What you doing now with the book?
I got the Bible open.
What you doing?
I'm reading the Bible. Mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first chapter I started.
Okay.
I'm on what, chapter 6? Getting into 7. I'm a little bit away. I couldn't even, come on, Jesus. Uh-oh. And he saw that they were making headway painfully, for the wind was against them, and about the fourth watch of the night he came to them walking on the sea. He meant to pass by them, but when they saw him walking on the sea, they thought it was a ghost, and cried out, for they all saw him and were terrified. But immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take heart. It is I, do not be afraid." And he got into the boat with them, and the wind ceased, and they were utterly astounded, for they did not understand about the loaves. But their hearts were hardened. Jesus heals the sick in Gennesaret.
So kamikaze happened last night, I see.
Kamikaze.
No fucking cicadas. The cicadas are dead over here. They were dive bombing.
I just got kamikaze right here.
What was that? What is that?
That's a mosquito.
Oh,
Rest in peace. When I got him, it was the weirdest thing. This has never happened to me before. I had a mosquito stamp on my finger. I never had that from him. I messed it up cleaning him off because I cleaned him off with the same finger that I stamped him. I bet I could, no. I don't have any, well, I guess I could wash my hands. I mean, that guy got me good, though. I looked down at my hand. I thought it was a fly, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I thought it was a fly, and then I look at it a second time, like, oh, wait, that's a big mosquito. It was a zebra one, but still, it was big. For it to be right there. Dang. Yeah, we finally got past this. Obstacle course part. Dude, don't take my hold. I think that's how it's done, man. Bada bing, bada boom. Look, there's a proof. You're like, oh my goodness, goodness gracious. Alright, Jesus heals the sick in Gennesaret. Gennesaret? Gennesaret? When they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret and moored to the shore. And when they got out of the boat, the people immediately recognized him and ran about the whole region and began to bring the sick people on their beds to wherever they heard he was. And wherever he came, in villages, cities, or countryside, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and implored him that they might touch even the fringe of his garment. And as many as touched it were made well. And as many as touched it were made well. I think I got the middle of that thing. Yeah. That wasn't bad. Quick. I probably did it too early. Did I do it too early? I think it's fine. That's the trick, isn't it? Traditions and commandments.
The paddle boys are already out for delivery order.
Ah, sweet.
We go in.
Dun, 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 dun.
I got the movement, Jordan. Look.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think Dad's a little excited too. But I gotta take Nana to the house because I gotta clean today. Yay.
Now when the Pharisees gathered to him with some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem, they saw that some of his disciples ate with hands that were defiled, that is, unwashed. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands properly, holding to the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And there are many other traditions that they observe, such as washing of cups and pots and copper vessels and dining couches. And the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, Why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands? And he said to them, Well, did Isaiah prophesy of you hypocrites, as it is? Prophesy? Well, did Isaiah prophesy of you hypocrites, as it is written? This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. You leave the commandments of God and hold the tradition of men. And he said to them, You have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to establish your tradition. For Moses said, Honor your father and your mother, and whoever revels, father or mother, must surely die. But you say, if a man tells his father or his mother, whatever you would have gained from me is Corban, that is given to God, then you no longer permit him to do anything for his father or mother, thus making void the word of God by your tradition that you have handed down, and many such things you do. What defiles a person? And he called the people to him again and said to them, hear me, all of you, and understand, there is nothing outside a person that by going into him can defile him. There is nothing outside a person that by going into him can defile him, but the things that come out of a person are what defile him. And when he There is nothing outside a person that by going into him can defile him, but the things that come out of a person are what defile him. And when he had entered the house and left the people, his disciples asked him about the parable. And he said to them, then are you also without understanding? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from outside cannot defile him, since it enters not his heart, but his stomach, and is expelled? Thus he declared all foods clean. And he said, what comes out of a person is what defiles him. For from within, out of the heart of man, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within, and they defile a person.
The Walmart burger is going to be here in 10 minutes. And I have water. I need you to help me, okay? Can I take this?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my little Gucci here is not doing good. Keeps dying.